My name is Amaka and you're welcome to Lizama's Stitches. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe. And also turn on the notification bell so that whenever I upload new videos, you'll be notified. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a sleeveless circle dress. So let's get started. Now this is the fabric I'll be using. This fabric is 2.5 yards of fabric. Now I've folded it into two. So I'm going to fold it again on bias. Okay, so I folded it again on bias. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. So I folded it again on bias. So now this is my fabric. I folded my fabric. My fabric is on bias. Now this is the part that is 4. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the part that is the folded part, the part that is closed. In case you don't understand how I folded this fabric, let me illustrate with this paper. Let's assume this is my fabric, and my fabric is 2.5 yards of fabric, and this is selvage to selvage. Now I folded my fabric into 2, and I folded it again on bias, just like this. I folded it again on bias. Now this is what I did. Okay, now this is how I'm going to take my measurement. Let's assume this is my shoulder line. I'm going to take my measurement from my shoulder line. Because this table is small, I want you to really understand what I'm doing and what I'm going to do. Now let's assume this is my shoulder line, and the full length of my dress is 4 inches. Let's assume the full length of my dress is 4 inches. I'm going to take my measurement this way. I'm going to mark 4 inches. I'm going to mark 4 inches. I'm going to mark 4 inches just like this, and I'll connect it. So this is how I'm going to take my full length. This is how I'm going to take my full length. I'm going to take from the shoulder to the full length. This is how I'm going to measure it. Now the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 15 inches. Now 15 divided by 2 gives you 7.5 inches. But because this is a sleeveless dress, I'm going to minus 1 inch from that 7.5 inches, and that gives you 6.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 6.5 inches here. I'm going to check where I can find 6.5 inches. Now this is 6. I'm going to place my tape this way, and I'll mark 6.5 inches. Now this is 6.5 inches. So I'm going to mark here. So this is my shoulder line. So I'm going to start by I'm going to take my neck measurement on this line. Now my neck width is 3.5 inches. This is 3.5 inches. And my neck depth is 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches. My shoulder measurement. This is my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 6.5 inches. So now from this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. 1 inch for my shoulder slant. And I'm going to connect it to this point. So I'm connecting this point to this point. And I'm connecting this point. This is my neck width. I'm connecting this point to this point. I'm connecting this point to this point with my French curve. That is my neck width to my neck depth. Okay. Now I'm going to impute my armhole measurement. The armhole measurement I'm working with is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 gives you 8 inches. But because this is a sleeveless dress, I'm going to minus half inch from that 8 inches. So I'm going to be using 7.5 inches because I don't want the armhole to be too open. So I'm going to use 7.5 inches instead. So I'm going to mark 7.5 inches here. So this is my 7.5 inches. This is my 7.5 inches, and I've connected it. Okay. Now I'm going to extend this point. So now this is my chest point. Now I'm going to find the midpoint of this line, but before I do that, I'm going to take my bust measurement. I'm going to take my bust measurement on this line. The bust circumference I'm working with is 38 inches. 38 divided by 4 gives you 9.5 inches, plus half inch for ease gives you 10 inches. So I'm going to mark 10 inches here. So this is 10 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. The midpoint of this line is 3/3. So this is the midpoint of this line. From this midpoint, I'm going to come in by 3/4 inch. But I'm going to use half inch instead. You can use 3/4 inch, you can use half inch. I'm using half inch for my front armhole. So I'm going to connect this point to this point with my armhole curve. Then I'll connect this point to this point. Now this is my front armhole. Now for the back armhole, I'm going to connect this point to this point. I'm not coming inside for the back armhole. I'm going to connect this point to this point, just like this. Okay. Now, on this point, I'm going to add half inch seam allowance on the shoulder. On the shoulder, I'm going to add half inch seam allowance. From this line, from this shoulder line, I'm going to take the full length of the dress. The full length of the dress is 36 inches, plus 1 inch hemming allowance gives you 37 inches. So I'm going to, from this line, from this shoulder line, I'm going to mark 37 inches. Let me move this a little. I'm going to move this fabric so that you can see what I'm doing. My table is small. So I'm continuing my 37 inches mark from here. So I'll connect it. I'll pull it back so that I can continue with my measurements. So I'll connect this point to this point. So I'll cut it. I'll start by cutting the back first. I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut the back first. After after cutting the back, I'll separate the back from the front, then I'll trim the front. Now this dress is going to have pocket. This dress is going to have pocket. Now from this armhole, from here, I'm going to mark half inch. I'm going to mark 8 inch. I'm going to mark 8 inches from here for my pocket. Okay, so I'll cut it. So I'm going to notch the pocket. Now this is where the pocket will be starting from, and the pocket is going to be 7 inches. So I'm going to notch it. Okay, so I'll separate the front from the back. I'm going to remove the back. So this is the back, and I'll trim the front armhole. Okay, so I'm going to cut the pocket. Now this is my fabric. The fabric is folded into 2. I'm going to fold it again into 4. Now this fabric is folded into 4. The length of my pocket is 7 inches. 7 inches. So I'm going to mark 7 inches. So I'm going to place my hand this way. I'm going to place my hand this way, and I'm going to carve the pocket. Remember to add seam allowance. Remember to add seam allowance while cutting your pocket. So I'm going to cut it. So this is my pocket. Now I have 4 pieces here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 pieces here. So I'm going to show you how to attach your pocket to your dress. Now this is my dress. And this is my pocket. Now look at the notch I gave for the pocket. So I'm going to place, now this pocket, I'm going to place it on this dress. Now I'm going to place it right side facing right side. This is the right side of my fabric, and this is the right side of the pocket. So I'm going to place it right side facing right side, just like this. And I'm going to sew it. After sewing, I'm going to flip it, and when I flip it, I'll top stitch. So the same thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to do it to the other side, and I'm also going to do it to the back panel. This is my dress. I've attached the pocket to the dress. Now this is how I'm going to sew it. I'm going to place, this is the front panel and this is the back panel. And this is right side facing right side. I've placed it on each other, right side facing right side. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. Now I'll place it this way, right side facing right side. And I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. I'm going to start by sewing the shoulder. I'll join the shoulder first. Then I'll sew from here, from this armhole. I'm going to sew it with 1 inch seam allowance because that's what I left. I left 1 inch seam allowance. I'm going to sew it with 1 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to sew the pocket. Then I'll sew it down. After that, I'm going to finish the neckline with facing. Now I have a tutorial on how to make neckline facing. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below so that you can check it out later. Then I'm going to sew the sleeve. I'll finish the sleeve, and I'm going to hem the lower part. So I'll do it and show you the finished look of this dress. Now this is the dress. I'm done sewing. I've joined the sides. Now this is it. I joined the sides this way. The same thing I did here, I did on this side. I hemmed the lower part, hemmed the sleeve, attached my facing, and that is just it. Now this is the right side of the dress. So this is the right side. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel to support me. Subscription is free. Feel free to ask questions. I'll be in the comment section to answer all your questions. Feel free to share your work with us on Facebook at Nizama Stitches. I would like to see your work. I would like to see what your dress looks like. We've come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.